Hey everyone!
Hi everybody! Hi everybody!
Look who's back from our extended vacation!
Woo!
We promise not to do that between every video.
Did we get a tan? You can't tell under our fur.
Alright, so, there's a certain small town in the mountains of a certain US state. It's a town known for its festivals, quaint little shops, hotels, bars, and restaurants. Hippie tourists from all around the region flock to this little town, which shall remain nameless, for long weekends and a good time.
So do a bunch of motorcycle ass***s.
Yes. But there's something that only people driving in from the north might notice. As you head down the winding highway, just outside of this town, you can observe a giant pool of bubbling liquid.
Ooh.
Just off the side of the road.
What kind of liquid is it?
I was just gonna ask if you could guess what it is.
Oh, but I asked you first.
I'll give you a hint. It's not a giant swimming pool filled with cocoa, and you won't find Oompa Loompas singing there. That's right. It's the local sewage treatment plant.
Oh.
It's just out there, proudly. No walls hiding it from passers-by, no covers on its basins. It's just there going, hey, look at me, smell me, take me in.
I don't want to.
For those who may already be feeling carsick from the winding highway, the sight of that enormous vat of shit water could be just enough to push you over the edge into Barfville.
Is that the town's name?
But some of you might be wondering how sewage treatment facilities even work.
No.
Yes, you are.
Oh, yes I am.
I mean, have you ever thought about what happens to your pee-pee and poo-poo when you flush it away?
Not really.
Well, I'm gonna enlighten you anyway, so buckle up.
You mean the toilet god doesn't just accept our offerings and vanish it away into the great unknown?
Sewage treatment is a type of wastewater treatment which removes contaminants from said wastewater to transform it into water that is good enough to discharge into rivers and other waterways without polluting the hell out of them.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Like, it actually works?
Works better than everybody just dumping their shit directly into the river. In some cases, with enough filtration, this wastewater is good enough to brew beer out of.
Not my beer! We don't drink pee-pee poo-poo beer, do we? Tyler, tell me it ain't so!
These people sure seem to be enjoying it.
Don't do it!
Yep. They seem to think it's delicious. In fact, the video says it's delicious or something.
Treating wastewater is easy, sustainable, and delicious.
Well, this is a good beer.
Ugh. In order to support our modern civilizations, we need modern sewage treatment. There are over 16,000 wastewater treatment plants in the US alone, handling approximately 62.5 billion gallons of wastewater each day. That's a whole lot of shit and piss. And whatever else gets flushed.
Well, menstrual blood, vomit, probably some wipes and stuff.
And speaking of all that other stuff, that is the first process at a typical sewage treatment plant. Taking out the trash. Screens filter out stuff like wet wipes, tampons, condoms, dead goldfish, and other delightful stuff from the wastewater.
Oh!
This trash is then hauled off to the local landfill.
So when you flush a goldfish, it just ends up in the trash? You might as well just put it in your trash under your sink?
Well, you know, it gets to go for one last swim.
Oh, that's true.
The next step in typical sewage treatment is the grit chamber. There are different types of grit chambers, but they all accomplish the same task, which is removing grit. Duh. It's not very difficult to do, as sand and rocks are heavier than the water they're sitting in, so separating them isn't so difficult.
Why is there sand and rock in the poo-poo water?
People flush strange things, I don't know.
Well, they do say some kitty litter is supposed to be flushable.
Well, see, there you go. From here, it's on to the primary clarifier. This is a circular tank where the water is held for a period of time to allow heavier solids to settle to the bottom as sludge, and lighter materials float to the surface as scum. Now we know what sludge and scum are. There's a difference, in case you were wondering.
I wasn't.
And next, it's time to get all bubbly in the aeration tank. In this tank, oxygen activates bacteria to feast on all the organic matter and ammonia in the water, aka poo poo and pee pee particles. And then get this, larger microbes then eat the bacteria. It's a really complex ecosystem. Who knew, right?
I don't like this ecosystem. Can't we just all bury our poop in the backyard like we used to?
Could you imagine what it would smell like taking a walk with the dog?
Probably you'd run out of places to dig too, you just keep digging up your old poop. But doesn't that make fertilizer?
Let's move along, shall we? So, now that you've got all that bacteria and all those microbes in there, also known as bugs by those in the industry, how do you get them out? Any guesses?
A big net?
No.
A microscopic net?
This is where the secondary clarifier comes in. In this tank, the water settles and the bugs sink to the bottom, where they are either recycled back into the aeration tank, to help generate more bacteria, or they're removed for other purposes like making fertilizer.
Oh, gross.
Grow up.
No, and you can't make me.
I know, I've tried. Secondary clarification is the final chance to remove any solids left in the water.
Gross. Go on.
The clean water on top then moves on to
Not clean. That is not clean water.
The cleaner water on top then moves on to the final step, disinfection. Are you okay? You don't look so good.
Oh, I'm great. I love this video so far, Tyler. Great subject you came up with.
It's fascinating. I'm sorry. This is all fascinating scientific stuff.
You're fascinated by Poo Poo.
Not poo poo, by the removal of poo poo from water.
I do that with a little net in the fish tank.
We don't have a fish tank.
Shh. They don't know that.
Disinfection can be accomplished in 3 ways: with chemicals, ozone, or ultraviolet treatment. Each method kills the bacteria, or bugs, remaining in the water before it's discharged. In some places, the water is treated further so that it can then be consumed, and sometimes made into beer.
No! Heresy!
So the next time you're driving past a bubbling tank of sludge and scum, remember that although it's really gross, wastewater treatment is vital to our modern society.
Are we being paid by, Big Poo Poo?
I wish. Hey, if Big Poo Poo is listening, feel free to sponsor us.
I'm sure they appreciate being called Big Poo Poo.
And now it's time for a shitty song from the Plopsum Bloopsums. Take it away. Plopsum Bloopsums.
Yeah, he's not even trying anymore. Boom-pa, boom-pa, doopy-bee-doo. We've got a vat of poopity stew. Oom-pa, boom-pa, poopity-pee. This is a subject that grosses out me. What do you get when you guzzle down shit? That's what would happen if you don't process it. Poop will go in and then fly right out. Out of your butt and out of your mouth. I think your health's going south. Oom-pa, boom-pa, doopity-blah. You should be glad of what they do for ya. So for the workers of poopity plants, thank you for keeping us from shitting our pants.
Am I high?